is Monday, 11 a.m. Hopefully I can actually make it to the gym and get my squats in without people being curling, because that's what happens on Monday. I'm tired of fucking talking about it on here. I opted to buy myself a treat, so I did buy Reese's Puffs. And the pin I got for the fucking Star Wars Episode 1 3D bullshit. This is the one I got from Cookie Crisp. See that fucker? That fucker? That fucker. He is the sole reason that people don't fucking take the new trilogy seriously, which is bullshit. Because Episode 3 is actually fucking good. And I don't care who likes that, and I don't care who disagrees with me, because it's great. It's the bridge. It's the bridge episode between the two trilogies, and it's what makes it about Anakin and not Luke, who is a bitch. I'm gonna talk about something I read this morning. I don't usually get on Facebook for the intelligent conversation or to read articles being posted, but something caught my eye, so I clicked on a link. 25 reactions to Chris Brown at the Grammys. I thought it was gonna be silly gifs of people making faces, but instead what I saw was much more tasteless. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on the internet. These reactions were actually Chris Brown fans on Twitter and Facebook stating their humble opinion about things. All of these 25 reactions to Chris Brown were a version of the following. Chris Brown could beat me any day. Chris Brown could beat me any day. Maybe these people don't recognize how, one, fucked up that is, and two, how fucked up that is. Fuck a society that has so ingrained patriarchy and, you know, the assertion of violence as power to the point at which it is desirable in a way that is harmful to another individual. I don't give a shit that Rihanna's a celebrity. I don't give a shit that, you know, you put your personal shit out there. No one deserves to be on the receiving end of domestic abuse. No one deserves for it to become a joke, no matter how fucking famous or stupid or laughable they are. And no one deserves for it to be socially accepted. Domestic violence isn't funny. And it's sad that we live in a society where these kind of things are things that people say in everyday conversation. It's sad that the spectacle of social media has exacerbated this. I recognize that, you know, S&M and things like that, you know, that is a legitimate thing that, you know, is part of some people's sexuality. There is a difference between saying, you know, S&M turns me on, and then there's another one saying, I want to be put in the position that Rihanna was in by Chris Brown because I find that to be desirable. There's a big difference between S&M and domestic violence. If you are turned on by S&M and it's a mutual agreement that this is going to happen, if there's consent to these actions taking place between you and your partner or partners, that's very different than someone beating someone. The problem is, in America, we don't talk about sexuality the same way that we talk about politics. We get down to and that sounds stupid, but we get down to the nitty fucking gritty. And we all have, like, you know, these little things like, I'm a liberal who believes this, and this doesn't fall into the liberal category. But as soon as we start talking about sexuality, and we have one umbrella term, and then we start having little caveats about how we define ourselves sexually, It's not okay because it doesn't fit into a box. This is why things get misconstrued. Which is why we equate domestic violence with sex when there's a big fucking difference. I don't know. I'm not very articulate. I think that it's fucked up. It's fucked up that we can joke about shit that if it happened to us and someone did that, you know, fuck you. And you can make the argument, well, I didn't put my business out there, you know. Okay. Be a fucking decent person. Also, though, I don't necessarily know if I can fully fault these girls for that. Because we exist in a society that doesn't want young women, or young men, or anyone, whatever you identify your gender as. We don't live in a society. We're talking about sexuality is still, it's still unacceptable. We don't like the fact that sexuality is very individualized, that our desires and things like that are not, you can't put them in a box. Which is why we don't talk about the difference. Which is why S&M is sensationalized, because people don't know how to talk about it, because people think it's a weird thing, when in reality there are lots of things, I'm sure, that are considered weird by other people, that people get turned on by, but they don't talk about it, or anything like that. I really, like, it blows my mind. So, which is why these young girls who made these responses, you know, they probably don't recognize here's the thing. There's a lot of young people don't talk about sexuality because they're told, we're still told not to talk about sexuality. We are more sexual, more, you know, more sexuality appears in music, movies, TV, things like that. But conversation surrounding, you know, understanding your own individual sexuality doesn't occur unless you are privileged enough to take a gender studies class, to take a sociology class, or to learn something, or pick up a fucking book that, you know, most people don't know to pick up, to learn more about themselves and those around them. And they would be much less judgmental, more prone to being understanding that not everyone fits into a box, and that some of the things you're saying that you think is funny, or that you think means one thing but means another, it's not the case. And it goes back to the point that there's a big difference between consensual S&M and clearly non-consensual domestic abuse. But we don't talk about it like that. We talk about S&M as being weird, it's a fetish, they're freaks. We make jokes about domestic violence. Yes, Whitney Houston died. But what happened? People are mourning her death, but people are also making crack jokes, but they're also making Bobby Brown jokes. You know? Again, it goes back to this, yes, celebrity, yes, stupid decisions. Yes, they made that choice. But nobody made the choice to be on the receiving end of domestic abuse. Nobody made the choice to be a domestic abuse survivor. So think before you fucking talk about things that you don't understand, and before you want to be clever with your Twitter and you want to, you know, be that guy, you know, zing. No one gives a fuck, you know?